Hi, boys and girls. It's so nice outside. I'm going to read to you outside and show you how to make an Easter basket. So we're finishing up chapter 37 of Genesis. And Joseph, remember, was just sold to the Egyptian traders. And it starts like this. The traders from Midian came by, and Joseph's brothers pulled him out of the well and sold him. Later, Reuben came back to the empty well. He saw that Joseph wasn't there. He was so upset he tore his clothes, and he went back to his brothers and said, "The boy isn't there. What should I do?" Then they got Joseph's beautiful robe, and they killed a goat and dipped their robe in blood. They took their robe back to their father, and they said, "We found this. Take a look at it. See if it's your son's robe." And Jacob recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe. A wild animal is eating him up. Joseph must have been torn to pieces." And Jacob tore his clothes and put on rough clothing that people wear when they're sad, and he mourned for many days. All Jacob's other sons and daughters came to comfort him, but they weren't able. He said, "I will continue to mourn till I go down into the grave to be with my son." So Joseph's father mourned for him. But the traders from Midian sold Joseph to Potiphar in Egypt. Potiphar was one of Pharaoh's officials, and he was the captain of the palace guard. And we will continue that after Easter. And I'm going to read again 2 chapters in a nest for Celeste because they're short. The first one is chapter 21 called the gondola. And look at this picture here. It's a little basket. And a basket that's being carried up high is called a gondola. We see them with hot air balloons, and this is going to be very interesting. First, Celeste went to the edge of the creek and took a long, cold bath, rinsing out the dried mud from her fur and whiskers. Brrr! That was cold, but it feels good to be clean again, she said, shaking off as much water as she could. Then she set to work finding a spot nearby under the protective cover of some thick weeds. She started by collecting dried grasses and weed stalks from the surrounding area and gathering big armfuls of thick tussocks that were growing in abundance along the creek. She was delighted to find several strands of horse or cow hair that had washed along the banks of the creek. Emerald green dragonflies and cerulean damselflies darted around her head as she worked, and she stopped briefly to nibble more seeds. She carefully laid out her supply of dried materials across the ground, and she selected only the strongest grasses, those without any insect damage, and set them to one side. Of the selected grass blades, she chose 2 of the thickest ones, and braiding them tightly around the strands of horsehair made a very strong length of rope. Then she started weaving a large basket, bigger than any she had made before, using strong blades of grass and weaving them tightly and with extra strong knots. She took the rope and wove it into the basket, interlacing it over and through as she created a large gondola, big enough to hold a mouse with a rope handle. Celeste thought of her mother as she worked. Her mother would have been proud. The moon rose, a pale rose-colored disc that illuminated the jewel weed. Before morning, she had nearly finished. Scouting the sandy shoreline of the creek, she found several tiny white coquina shells with holes in them and used them to decorate the sides of the basket. And as a last touch, she added a red cardinal feather. Celeste carefully dragged the basket to a little clearing in the weeds and covered the basket with a sycamore leaf in preparation for Lafayette's return. And now it's already chapter 22, and look at Lafayette now. He did come back. Sure enough, just before dawn, Celeste heard the osprey's high-pitched call as he wheeled and soared above the creek. She ran back and forth along the sandy bank until the osprey spotted her far below. He circled and swooped and landed slightly and was a little awkward. "Well, not much room for a landing," Lafayette joked. "How are things with my little sugar pie this morning?" "Oh, I'm fine," answered Celeste, "but I do have a favor to ask of you." "What's that, Sugar Plum?" "Would you take me home now?" said Celeste. The osprey raised a brow. "I don't weigh very much," she added. Then he grinned. "Why, sure, honey, but how do you suggest I do that?" With a flourish, Celeste pulled away the sycamore leaf and revealed the basket. There was the tightly woven gondola with its reinforced strap, complete with decorative shells and a cardinal feather. "Holy catfish!" exclaimed Lafayette. "You've been busy. Is this your mysterious plan? It is splendid." Now look at that. There's that beautiful cardinal feather. "Did you actually make this?" He picked up the basket gently with his beak, turning it around and admiring it from all sides. Celeste blushed. No one had ever admired her work before. She hardly knew how to react. "Well, there's nothing to it, really. Usually the difficult part is getting the supplies, but there is plenty of grass around here. And after that, it's a matter of just doing what my paws say I should do." "I admire those folks who are clever with their paws." The osprey sighed, studying the intricate basket. "I've always been so clumsy with my talons." "I can't imagine you'd be clumsy at anything," said Celeste. "Ah, go on," Lafayette blushed. "I could never do what you do. This basket is amazing, a work of art by You're Lonesome. You're amazing, Sugar Pie, and you're thinking I can give you a ride in it?" Celeste pointed to the two straps. "If you grab here and here with your talons, I'm sure it's sturdy enough, and it's lightweight too, so I wouldn't be much of a burden. Can we give it a try?" "Absolutely. I'm game if you are. Afraid of heights?" "Well, I don't know yet." The morning air was cool and damp, and heavy dew covered every surface. Even in the pre-dawn light, Celeste could see the entire world was blanketed with silvery droplets. The air was full of the scent of magnolia and jasmine blossoms. Celeste couldn't wait to try the gondola. Lafayette's eyes glowed and his feathers were ruffled with anticipation as he maneuvered the basket. He carefully clasped its handle in his talons and lifted it with one foot. Celeste hopped into the gondola and gripped the rim tightly. "Ready?" he called out. "Ready!" she cheered. And there they go. That will be our next chapter. All right. Now we have time to make an Easter basket. So let me show you. I'm going to turn the camera down here and get everything ready. It's a little breezy, so we'll see if this works, and if not, well, I'll just do it inside. Now here is the Easter basket. You're going to get a piece of paper. I gave you that. You're going to copy Happy Easter at the very end, and you're going to weave paper inside a little brown piece that I've already cut for you. And you have a sheet of eggs that I want you to color and cut out. I've done most of mine. And I gave you all the strips you need and some green to cut and make grass. The only thing you're going to need is to get yourself some glue, and if you don't have glue, you can use tape, anything you can to get it to stick. So there's my sample. Now let me show you how we do this. So I'm going to lay this over here. First of all, take your brown paper that is already cut like this and lay it down on the white paper, and then get some of your strips. Now everybody has different colors of strips. I just cut a bunch of strips, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Take one, and you're going to start right at the bottom here. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to take the strip and slip it in the first slice, and then under that first strip, and over the second strip, and then under the strip, and then it's going to come out and go over, and then under, all the way down, just like that. Now take a second color, or maybe you want to do all the same color. That will be fine. Now, if you did this exactly the same way as the purple, you wouldn't get that woven look. So the first one went over that edge. This time it's going to go under, and then over the second strip, and then tuck it under that next third one, a little bit longer, then it will come out over, and then under, and then over. Now, as I do this, I'm going to kind of scoot them over. Now I'm going to make a purple next. So I'm going to choose a purple strip. Now it kind of looks like it's not quite working yet, but that's okay. Now we always have to choose the next color and weave it a different way. So let's start at the top again here. Now this one will go over because the pink one went under that first strip. So it goes over and then under the next one. And then it comes over. And then it goes under. Just keep doing that over and under pattern. We like patterns and they help us to learn. We were under that strip, so we'll go over the next strip. And then keep going. There. Now I just kind of scoot them over. They're supposed to be sticking out like that. That's okay. Now let me get the next one, which will be pink. And I have other colors. Everybody has different colors. You can make a pattern or just do it randomly. Okay, the purple was over the top strip, so the pink will be under the top strip. So we have to go under it and then over the second strip and then under that third strip. And it's a little hard, but you'll get the hang of it. And then over and under and over. Now, boys and girls, you are going to do this and finish it. You'll probably be able to fit in 4 or 5 or 6. If you scoot them over, you'll fit in a little bit more. Now I'm going to stop right here and just show you what to do next. When you're all done and you've finished right here, you're going to trim these off so that they're even with the top of the basket. And you're going to trim the other end too. Oops, this little pink one is getting away from me. I'm going to trim these off too, so everything is even. And then you're going to use your glue and glue it to the bottom. So that's what I've done here. I've glued my basket to the bottom of the paper, okay? Leave the top part unglued. Just glue around these edges. That's what I would do here. I'm not quite finished, but I would glue around these edges. Then you make your handle. Now I gave everybody little strips of brown. So all you have to do is just take those little strips and put a little bit of glue on each one. I've got lots of things hanging down and falling down. And just start creating a handle to go around the top of your basket. You make it any way you like. You can make it longer, shorter. You can just do it any way you want. This is your project. You can add it. So see how I'm making that and how I finished it all the way around. Then that's when you glue. I'm gonna not finish that. I want you to finish it. That's when you take your scissors and cut out your eggs that you've colored. Cut it all the way around carefully. And then, if you haven't glued the top part, you'll just take a little bit of glue and stick it right there inside. And then you take, I gave you green paper, you can just cut it any way you want, really. Just kind of rectangles. And look what I'm doing. I'm just cutting strips. Snips. I just call them snips to make it look sort of like grass. And I'll glue a little bit on the bottom there. And I'm gonna slip it in here. And I actually go like this. I actually kind of push this down like it's grass. Now that will make your Easter basket. So let me show you mine again. The basket's glued on the bottom. All the little strips go around to make the handle. I've cut some grass. I did 2. You could do 3, 4, 5. And then I put some eggs inside the basket and wrote Happy Easter. So you go right ahead and do that and enjoy it and hang it up and have a great weekend and a happy Easter. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.